Over the last 20 years, LEGO Star Wars has released a couple of nice Duel on Mustafar playsets. However, Republic Bricks sponsored this video and sent me a Duel on Mustafar build unlike any I've seen before. This is a 2,396 piece, $250 diorama, and it is absurdly cool looking. It has the one big downfall that we'll get to later in the video, but it might still just be worth buying because it looks incredible. And, you know, after I build it, I'll know that for sure. But, you know, look at all these pieces. I mean, this thing is huge, and it's so big. It comes with 2 base plates. The build is going to end up being 64 by 32 studs. I mean, just a massive Duel on Mustafar build. So I'll tell you, I am excited about this one. Let's unbox it. Like any Republic Bricks set, it comes in some nice plastic bags, somewhat separated by color and part size, and, you know, it's gonna be a long build because there are no numbered bags like some of your bigger LEGO Star Wars sets. That's just part of what you get when you buy a custom set, unfortunately. It's just a different experience, but it's definitely a rewarding one when the model is finished. You'll find the instructions to be LEGO-like, however, not quite up to that same standard you might be used to, as it's not backed by a multi-billion-dollar company, but they are definitely usable and will get the job done to finish the build. So I didn't end up building this set personally. The guy who works for me, Pearson, ended up building it, and when he brought it in, I could not believe how good it looked. For some time, my favorite Republic Brick set has been the UTAT here, but I think this Mustafar set is really going to give it a run for its money, and it all starts with that flowing lava. The lava on this build really makes this set for me. Whoever designed this did it the right way. There's so many different ways you can do flowing liquids with LEGO, and this one, for this particular build, the way that it highlights the different colors within the lava using dark red, orange, yellow, just the differences in color are so intricately but perfectly done. It looks so amazing there. And then on top of that, you even have little fiery bits that are spouting out from the lava. The snot or studs not on technique turned out to be perfect for this build. And so that basically means all of these are plates that are laid sideways onto the base plate and like connected with bricks that have studs on the side, and then they run across the build. I also think the integration of some land within the lava flow here is just about perfect. Not overdone, not underdone, just the right amount of little land splotches and things that cut in and out from the base to make it a bit more of a dynamic display. Now, floating above the lava, there are a couple of small builds that you may recognize from Revenge of the Sith. First off, we have what is the panning droid on the left there. Got a couple of arms, a couple of those translucent pink eyes, and then we also have that floating platform that they fight on. With Anakin and Obi-Wan placed on top, I think it looks quite incredible, although this is where I'll get to talk about the biggest downfall of this set before we get into more of the build, but that's that the minifigs aren't included. It's not that Anakin and Obi-Wan are particularly difficult figures to come by or figures you might not own, but I figure for a $250 custom set, and it's not like the UTAT I showed earlier where it's a ship, it is a display build of an actual scene that represents one of the most iconic scenes in Star Wars history. I figured they'd throw in a couple of custom figures, but alas, I had to use my official LEGO ones here. So I see that really as the biggest downside of this set, is not including figures. At $250, it just should be there. Now, for as good as the lava flow, the panning droid, and the platform builds are, there's still another entire section to this build where you can reenact more of the duels between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and even an interior inside the building there. Starting on the far left here, we have a little platform, I believe, where the Duel on Mustafar is supposed to have started, and they were supposed to have parked a bunch of ships. In this scale, though, you will not be parking Anakin Starfighter or Padme's ship on it. You'll just be placing a couple of figures on there to talk it out. For its placement, the platform is reasonably strong on the edge of the build. However, I would still try to counteract your force when placing minifigures down on there, just so that you don't make the whole thing fall down. It shouldn't fall down. It still feels like it's supported enough, but it is a worry of mine. Next, we have the little pathway with a couple of studs on top that you can attach Anakin and Obi-Wan to. Just another nice section to have them duke it out. Moving away from that section leads us to a nice interior area, which I think looks really good, but functionally, you can't really do too much with. Figures can't even sit at the table, so even if you were to get a bunch of separatist leaders together on Utapau and send them off to Mustafar so that they could sit at this table and discuss who knows what, they wouldn't be able to. I do really like the view looking outside through those orange tinted windows, though. I had to try it because I knew you guys would be curious. Yes, you can fit Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of on top of the table, but it looks rather awkward. The top of the building has some nice details so that it doesn't look flat. However, the back of it quite literally is flat, at least where the rocks end, but that makes sense given this is a diorama with the black border. The build basically just ends at the black border. So it makes sense, although it might look a little awkward to you. It's also the side of the build you're not really going to see. Frankly, I don't see this as a bad thing at all. I actually think it looks quite good for the back side of the build. Looking to the exterior, it is a very nice look with some nice curves and contours with some interesting building techniques. There's kind of some hanging parts in different places to get the design to look as good as it does. But I think illegal building techniques like that might just be worth it at the end of the day because this part looks incredible. Those orange window panes very nicely match the rest of the lava on the set, including the lava falling down kind of the rock face underneath the building. You can also see in dark gray some of the supports for the walkway above that, and that is one of the nicer places you can place Anakin and Obi-Wan. I really like the way they look on that walkway, but it's not the best. That, to me, almost unquestionably is going to be the beam suspended in the air right next to them. Now, it does not have additional support like the little platform and walkway that we saw earlier, so it's not as strong, I would say, and it's probably heavier with all of the extra brown pieces on the end of the build, but it still holds out pretty straight and looks really, really nice. Now we'll go ahead and place Obi-Wan and Anakin onto the beam, and they look quite incredible dueling it out on top of there. I'm a really big fan of that. Obviously, it's just such an iconic scene, and it's great to have it recreated in such a nice way with a more expensive build here from Republic Bricks than the ones that LEGO has done. Now you can actually remove this entire beam from the main build as well and place it down into the lava so that you can recreate it having fallen down and be floating down the path. It's quite incredible. The last part of the duel you may want to recreate, of course, is the high ground. Now there's a couple different sections where you could try to do this, of course, here on the back right, and then on kind of the middle left of the build, there's also that section of land that could be used for it. However, I do think this is the better area for it. I just wish the designer had included a little bit higher ground for Obi-Wan to stand on and for Anakin to essentially fall into the lava or catch on fire with. I just feel like there was a little more opportunity to make it even more perfect of a build here, but I still think the area is there, which is nice, but the ground should have been a little bit higher. With the 2024 Battle Pack and the Coruscant gunship out, you can actually add in a couple of shock troopers too to make it an even more complete scene, so I love that about it. You just obviously have to take away Obi-Wan to add in the shock troopers coming to Anakin's aid. For comparison's sake, here on the left, we have a $100 diorama by LEGO, and then we have the $250 Mustafar diorama from Republic Bricks. I feel like it's almost unquestionable that this is a pretty fair value for money, even when compared to official LEGO sets. It's actually quite shocking. 2,396 pieces, I believe, is just above 10 cents per piece, which a lot of people hold as the gold standard for LEGO set pricing. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's what people say. And so $250, even just for the size of this thing side by side with a $100 diorama, is pretty incredible what they're able to offer, I think, as far as the value goes. The downside I find, again, with Republic Bricks is that it's not always going to be brand new parts. I found the quality of parts on this set to be more than acceptable, though, given the price, so I was pretty happy with it, but that's, again, something you may have to consider for yourself. And now, having taken an incredibly in-depth look at this build and gone through every section with you guys, I think it has surpassed the UTAT as my favorite Republic Brick set of all time, especially for the price at $250. I just think it's quite incredible. It looks magnificent. The lava goes a long way. The building is fantastic. The biggest downside, depending on what kind of collector you are, is that it won't have an Anakin and Obi-Wan custom figure, but if you already own those figures, that's a completely mute point, I suppose. If you want to buy one of these, I'll have a link directly to it down in the description below. You can use code MNR to get 5% off your purchase, and by the way, I do not get any commission from you guys buying any of these from Republic Bricks. I just get a flat fee for the video, but I do really love this set, so if you liked what you saw, it's something I would highly, highly recommend. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and you can check out more custom LEGO set reviews on the end screen now.